This is the PL-89 thought calendar, also known as the PL-89 Mercury Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar, and the PL-89 Mercury Gematriatic Quantum Entanglement Thought Calendar. Today is Friday, July 18th, 2025, and it is Yom Shishi, the 6th day of the week, 22 of Tammuz, 22nd day of Tammuz, 5785, Parshat Pinchas, the Torah portion of Pinchas, and the Daf Yomi today is Tractate Avodah Zarah, page 30, Daf Lamed. This is the PL-89 calendar. It's a lunar solar calendar, which also takes into consideration the Julian calendar and the planet Mercury and planet Earth. And I started working on this calendar 13 years ago. It's going to be 13 years late summer. I started in late summer. In the Hebrew month of Elul, it was late August, early September. Around that time is when the original design of this calendar, the thought was had developed in that year of 2012, which is exactly 430 years from the year 1582, which is an important year because the year 1582 is the year that Pope Gregory XIII established the Gregorian calendar as a reform to the Julian calendar. And this calendar has both the Gregorian calendar and the Julian calendar. Some people today still hold to the Julian calendar. And what is interesting is that one of the last countries, if not the last country, to adopt the Gregorian calendar that we have today, the calendar on which today is July 18th, is the country of Greece. The year was 1923, and that is the same year that the Daf Yomi started in Rosh Hashanah. It was September 11th, 1923, which is Rosh Hashanah of the year 5684, Tafresh Pei Dalet, which is interesting because the last two letters of Pei Dalet is it means 84, but if you switch the letters around, it's Daf. So the Daf Yomi started in Pei Dalet, which is kind of a interesting, punny kind of a joke that we see often in life. This takes into consideration the Daf Yomi in addition to all the above mentioned date calendars and counting systems, because I believe, and it's a speculation and something I'm working with, that the Daf Yomi has something to do with these calendars, the numeric system. So today, on this calendar, the 18th of July would be in box 23. And the Julian calendar would be 13 days before that. The Julian calendar is, I think it's from the year 1901 up until 2099. It's going to be 13 years. It loses a few minutes. 13 days, I'm sorry. It loses a few minutes each year. So every couple hundred years, it would be more than one day. But what I read recently is that from 1901 till I think it's 2099, the Julian calendar will be 13 days behind the Gregorian calendar. So the Julian calendar would be at July 5th, which would be box 32. What is interesting is that 32 is the last box of 72. This calendar, when you're looking at 80 squares, and they're rows of 8, and there's 10 of them. There's 8 per row. There's actually 8 columns, and there's 10 rows. But in each row, there are 8 boxes. And so this calendar is 80 squares, but I call these weeks. It's an 8-day week. 1 week less than 80, of course, is going to be 72. And if you look at something within the Kabbalah, when I say Kabbalah, I just mean they call it Nishter, the hidden dimension of the Torah. It's really just in the Torah itself. But there are verses that need to be seen, the deeper meaning of it. And certain names, holy names, are extrapolated from these verses. And these names describe aspects of God. And that's what I mean by Kabbalah. In the Kabbalah, I think it's in the Zohar and in other Kabbalistic books, there is something called the 72-letter name, which the format of the 72-letter name, the way it's conveyed, is exactly like this. Well, 72, of course, is 8 times 9. That's another reason why it's called the PL-89. 89 it's 8 plus 9, but it's also 8 times 9. And the first name is the letter Vav, letter He, and the letter Vav in the one version of it, in the most well-known version, which is 12 and 5 is 17, and 17 is 8 plus 9. But 8 times 9 is 72, and the first name, which means that if you're counting this way, but anyway, this 8 boxes here, and it's exactly the 72-letter name. But I had no idea that it was when I started this. For me, it had to do with the planet Mercury. Its revolution around the sun is approximately 88 Earth days, 87 point something. And 89, that's why I thought it was 89, because 87, 88, 89, and this whole thing, plus an invisible 10 days, which also is very much calculated. It's called the 10-day twilight period. So that's why I thought it was 89. When I made it, I had no idea that it would have a connection exactly to the 72-letter name. But the 72-letter name is Hebrew, and the Hebrew goes from right to left. So the first name starts here, the second name here, and so forth. And the 8th name, interestingly enough, would be on box 8. It doesn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It goes 8 plus 9 plus 8 plus 9 plus 8. But the other way, it's 8 minus 9 minus 8 minus 9 minus 8. So any way you look at it, you have interesting connections. But 32 is the 72nd name, which was yesterday. See, there's a counting of the names, and that's how I study things. I study by counting them. So let's say these names are very esoteric, they're very deep, they're very meaningful, but the meanings are hidden, and it's not like you can just. There are a lot. If you search for the 72 names, you'll find people on YouTube and online that talk about it. People say different things about it. People are talking about it, but I don't know who has the deepest meaning of it. I don't know who has the correct meaning of it. And since I don't know, and I look around, I try to study it, I just try to gain understanding by simply meditating on it and counting it. That's my study. For example, if today is the first day, and today is the name of Vav, He, and Vav, then I don't try to read any meaning into it. I just say it's the first name, so it's associated with 1. I say it's associated with 17 because in basic Hebrew gematria, Vav is 6, and He is 5, so that's 17. I can say that it's an 8 really because a 17 is really an 8. That would take this side to this side. This is 8. This is 28. And and as you start to dwell and meditate on the mathematics, and just say 7, 17, 1 plus 7 is 8, and so forth, then ideas start to come out of them. They start to grow out of them. And that's my method of learning. It's a meditative counting journey. So 72 days ago, when I went through the cycle, I started here, and I went every day counting 1 and ending up at 32. But on the Julian calendar, 13 days ago is today. So July 18th is 23, which is today. But I finished the count yesterday and starting a new day today. And this thing, two days together are considered one day. It's purple. See, they're both purple? They're not really both purple. One is purple and one is like violet. Or one is, that's why it's called PL. L is stands for lavender. Lavender is, this is closer to lavender than this. Is purple, lavender. But they're the same color, but they're just lighter. So if at the end of the day, if you wanted to call this purple, you could. You could say it's a very light purple. They're both purple, but they're different. They're the same, but they're different. That's the whole idea. So today is the exact same as yesterday. Why? Because we both completed the 72 names and we started a new cycle, and that's made like the same day. But that's only if I take into consideration the Julian calendar, which is 13 days before today. And that's an incredible thing. It's not something that I thought about. It's not something that I carefully calculated with my mathematical powers, which I have none, by the way. I mean, whatever I learned is just given. I have an interest in it, perhaps, that's given as well. But the Julian calendar, it substantiates the time value of that plus 13 and minus 13. That 13 days, today minus 13 is today. Not that it is, but in thought, they become unified. If I make the unification, I see some incredible unifications, and the numbers are there to substantiate that, to verify that. Okay, now that we've verified that, that was just the Gregorian calendar. That's the solar aspect, the sun. But there's a moon aspect too. The moon aspect is, remember when I mentioned the 10-day twilight period? The 10-day twilight period is the end of 3 months. It's the last 10 days of a mercurial year. Because if Mercury takes 87 point something days to revolve around the sun, if in fact it does, I think it does, but these days, I don't know. People say all kinds of stuff. But then it's almost 90 days. And that's 3 months. And there's other reasons for that 3-month period that are biblical, based on passages in the book of Exodus. That's for a different time. But today, on the Hebrew calendar, we are in that 10-day twilight period, because this 3-month period, the starting point is at different seasons depending on the dispensation, which is another study, and for time I won't go into that, but enough to say that the dispensation that we're in, this 3-month period started from ER. So it went ER, Sivan, and now we're at the last 10 days of Tammuz. But it's not always like that. Sometimes it starts in the traditional way, where it would be the Tekufa of Nisan. If it was like in the traditional way of seasons, then it would be like Tammuz of El is Tekufas Tammuz, or Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, that's Tekufas Nisan. But interestingly, there's another format, another scenario, where you're starting from the end. And what's ironic is that that's how I actually started. I started from the end. Many who are first are last, and many who are last are first. And that's how it started. It started with the last. And for 8 years, I had meditated upon that format, which means that the Rosh Hashanah, the beginning, was the last month of the season. So this was Adar. It was the last month of winter before spring, the first one. And then it started with Sivan, the last month of spring before summer. Or Kislev was like the last month of fall before winter, and then Teves, Shvat, Adar, Sivan, Tav. Yeah. So yeah, it started with the Elul. Elul was the last month of the summer before the fall, and so it has these three dispensations. But the dispensation we're now in, which is the last, actually starts from the middle. And there's something, I think, very mystical about that it's kind of like a dream. When you're in a dream, do you ever remember when the dream started? Did you ever like in a movie where there's that, the studios come in, they have their icons, insignias, whatever, and then they do their thing, and now the movie is starting. I don't know about anyone else, but I don't think anyone can remember when their dream started. They just somehow find themselves in the dream. I remember a dream that I had last night. I'm not saying I do, if I'm saying that, you just talk about it because you find yourself in it. Even if it's the beginning of it, you're still in the middle of it. I hope I'm making it clear. I hope this makes sense to people. But when I'm in a dream, it's just, I remember that dream. I'm in it already. And that, interestingly, is how this is ending, is that we're actually just in the middle of it. So, right now, the middle of it, in terms of astrology, are the fixed months. That would be Iyar, that would be Cheshvan, that would be Av. It's going to start a new mercurial year in Av. Av is going to be the Rosh Hashanah of this mercurial year. And that's interesting. It's like, as this calendar gets completed at 13 years, and then one more year will be the closing of it. So it's 8, 4, 2, 1. 8 years, 4 years, 2 years, 1. Right now we're more than halfway through the 2-year dispensation. But at any rate, we're in a 10-day twilight 2, which is the 22nd of any month. And that would put us at 26. And the only thing I can think of off the top of my head is that the parsha that we're reading now in Pinchas is Numbers chapter 26. Is in Pinchas. So tomorrow we're reading that, and God willing, Sabbath, Parshas Pinchas. So a Julian day away is Numbers 26. And today, T2, which is 10 to 12 2, is box number 26, as you can see.